All right, we'll start.
All right.
I suppose.
All right.
What's up, everybody? It's Josh and Jess from God Hates Unicorns, and we're here with another very exciting round of
Watching the snail.
no, you can't even see that hardly. Bands and artists we like and support that aren't as good as God Hates Unicorns. That's not true. It's not true. And here with us today we have Jon Siren.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for coming on. Josh has been talking about you, and I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you so much. So, you just got back from a tour of Europe.
Yep. Yeah, I was out there with Frontline Assembly, and we were on the road with Decrups and Tension Control, and then also Priest for the Scandinavian dates.
Okay.
Not Judas Priest, but Priest.
An important distinction. That's
yeah.
awesome. And you are
Yeah.
correct?
Pardon me?
You do drums, right? You do the
Yeah.
drums.
I do the drums. Yes, I do. Yeah.
I like the drums. I like doing drums, and I'm not good at it, but you are, and it shows in the things that you're able to do and the bands you're with, like Frontline Assembly. That's really cool.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Do you do Zoom lessons? She needs lessons.
I actually do lessons. I haven't used. I should probably actually consider using Zoom as another option, but I've been mostly doing like Google. So I'm doing like right now, so I can even do drum lessons even remotely when I'm on the road and whatnot as well too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it becomes a little bit more tricky, but I can still manage to do lessons with people as well.
I do need lessons. Like I flicked you off, and that wasn't right because
I was actually trying to make a connection here.
We were making a connection, and I'm not good, and I would love to be a little more good. So, yeah, okay. Well,
right on. Yeah. Just hit me up, and we'll figure it out.
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome.
So, like Frontline Assembly, and I think Psyclon Nine. Who else are you playing with right now?
I also play with IMX. I also right now Chris is doing a lot of solo stuff. He released a modular synth record, and he's been going out by himself, but I think there's plans to have the full band back in the mix probably late next year. So that's at least the information I've received so far, but I work with them. I also work with Tim Skold, his solo stuff. So I was doing a lot of tours with him right before the pandemic. So yeah, those are probably the main four at the moment. But on top of that, I go to Dominican Republic in about a week and a half or something with Information Society. So yeah, so I'll be out with them. So I'm really excited about that. I mean, it's really cool to play with some of these artists because I grew up listening to them. So it's kind of nice to be on stage jamming with them and looking at their backs as I'm performing. Yeah.
So speaking of that, who has the nicest ass?
Yeah,
who's got? Oh man, that's a funny one. Geez, I don't know. I'll get in trouble if I answer this. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. They all have fabulous asses. All of them.
Oh man, everybody has a good ass. I mean, maybe they do though.
They could.
I haven't seen them all because I'm not in that spot.
Oh wow! I mean, that's what happens when you're the drummer. You get to see everyone's butt all night long. So and then you see like the front row of people usually. So
that's not a bad gig.
It's not bad. I enjoy it. You can't tell if it's a packed house. It's still a fun show, and if there's only 10 people in the front, I'm having a good time. If the lights are blasting in my face.
That's awesome. I mean, that's so exciting. I mean, even butts aside,
I thought you were talking about the butts. Though.
it is exciting, and I am excited about the butts. But butts aside, what you're doing is amazing, and you are, you're kind of living that. I'll say my high school dream. It's like you're listening to these bands, and then you're getting to rock with them, staring at their asses all day. That's amazing. And how tell the kids, like, how do you get there?
Because kids listen to this program.
The kids are here.
Oh, how do you get to do what I'm doing?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I've got the cliche, a lot of hard work and sacrifice, I suppose. I don't think I was given any exceptional talents except for being persistent. So that's one thing that I think is a strength of mine is not giving up. I know some incredible players, and yeah, I mean, they drop out at a certain point because it is a tough industry. I mean, music's not easy, even if you're an incredible musician and people enjoy you, and maybe even if you're making money doing so, it's really tough. It's hard to have, I guess, romantic relationships or families. And I mean, people do all this stuff, but it's really tough to, I guess, have that sort of balance, I think, in this field, especially if you're, I guess I can only speak for myself. If you're in my position, and I'm trying to live out this fantasy, this dream, that I had even as a little kid to perform and tour the world and record albums. It's been an incredible amount of work and sacrifice to do this. But I'm by no means am I living with any regrets. I mean, there are moments where, I kind of, everybody questions what they're doing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's, the music industry kind of beats you down quite a bit. So there'll be moments where you do question it. You're like, why did I go this route in life? Maybe I should have gone with something that still fits some of my values and some of my interests, but has a bit more of security. So I'm not sure if I completely answered the question, but basically a lot of hard work and being persistent, and then I think on top of it, I think that you need to be a decent person to be around. It's really tough to know what personality you should or shouldn't have with certain bands if you're joining in. Because even if, there's been times where I put my best foot forward, but I don't feel like maybe I'm welcomed in by the band so much. I mean, they're looking, sometimes they'll, I played in a wide variety of bands. So, I mean, I'm just being very elusive. Sometimes there's been certain situations where, it maybe doesn't feel like you're totally welcome. Like maybe you're just some hired gun and then that's it. So that can be a bit of a bummer. So, but having a nice personality, I think, will get you far. Like maybe it's not the personality that the band leader will want to hang out with you or anything like that. But I think that it helps you keep gigs and even get gigs, to be perfectly honest, because you all have to live together. So if you have a disagreeable personality, then you might not get asked back for the next tour.
Right.
So.
I think that's honestly great advice for everybody all the time. Like, can you just be a person that, like, is decent to be around?
Yeah.
and that's so hard, and it's crazy to me. Like, even in, like, my work, which is my primary work, is for a medical device company, and it's like, why can't we just, like, be a human being that talks and is nice? And it's hard. It's hard for people, but it definitely, like, it goes so far. Personality goes so far. Just being positive and open and willing to understand other people and their viewpoints and doing all that stuff. That's great for anything you want to do.
Yeah, I think that goes for most jobs or careers. I mean, uh, you just have to be nice. You have to be able to read the room, kind of, kind of put your feelers out. Like if no one's reacting to your boisterous vibe or whatever, then dial it back a bit. Or if they're feeding into it and they enjoy it, then yeah, you can keep going with it instead of being like maybe so shut off. So it's all about reading the room, I think.
Absolutely.
I'm very good at that.
You're. He does know how to read. I'll give him that much.
That is a good skill.
Good skill.
I can do it.
I do believe it in some senses. Anyways, so you're home now. You were on tour. What's your next endeavor? What are you going on next?
Well, then, yeah, the next thing is the Dominican Republic trip.
Absolutely,
with Information Society, and then so I'm just in and out really quickly, and then pardon me.
That's the way to do it, in and out real quickly.
That's
in and out really quickly.
That's what.
Yeah, and what's that? I'm waiting for a "that's what she said" or something like that. No.
He didn't say that.
Okay.
He specifically did not say that. But go on.
I wasn't trying to set myself up for that, but anyway, yeah. So I, go and play a show there. Luckily, it seems like there'll be a little bit of time there to maybe swim in the ocean or something like that. So that should be nice. But I'm only there for like a couple days and then I fly out. So there's not much time to explore the country. But anyway, it will still be a good time. And then after that, I get ready to leave with Psyclon Nine. We're doing a second US tour, different cities. It kind of was based around doing this show that's happening in Philadelphia, and I feel really guilty for not knowing what it is. I think it's maybe some vampire ball or Halloween ball or something, but it's like a bigger event than like your average show. So a lot of the tour dates were kind of based around getting us to Philly and then getting us back to LA. So yeah, we made a whole tour out of it essentially.
Is it the coffee shop we played back in the day?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So yeah, no, I definitely remember playing some very non-venue venues back in the day. Yeah, I mean, touring with Mankind is Obsolete. I mean, we would set up anywhere. I mean, that was a cool thing about doing that band was, we just brought our PA with us. So I would imagine if it was some coffee shop, we probably set up our own PA and just did it that way. We basically were going to tour no matter what. That was sort of that philosophy. I just grew up around that, like punk bands playing in basements and house parties, and my first tour was just nothing but playing like basements and house parties and dive bars. So that's what I knew, and that's what I knew to do with Mankind is Obsolete in the beginning. I know things are different in bands cut their teeth in different ways. It's maybe not like grinding it out on the road so much as it is maybe having an internet presence now. But I guess I'm old school in that sense. I enjoy grinding it out on the road. I like playing every single night. Just because the band starts getting tighter and you meet a lot of people, you see a lot of places. So yeah. Sorry, I like went way off tangent, but I just have the Information Society gig and the Psyclon 9 gig, which are totally opposite stylistically, as far as the music goes. But both fun bands. So I'll do that, and that kind of concludes my year as far as I know. I mean, I've had a busy year, but I think that will be it for the year. Stuff is brewing for next year, but I don't have all the pieces together, and I can't probably announce some of the stuff because it's in the works. But there is one really cool big tour that's forming, and it seems like that will happen in April. So Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Hopefully I'll get information on that soon and I'll be able to say something about it.
Can you talk about how you guys know each other?
He used to write me love letters on MySpace.
Oh, okay.
MySpace days, yeah. I mean, I was
MySpace days.
just aggressive on MySpace with meeting people, meeting other bands from other cities that might be like similar to what it was that I was doing, you know, kind of this dark electronic thing. Not quite industrial, not quite goth or whatever, or rock. So yeah, I met Josh that way, and he had his band, and we would do gigs together in like Pittsburgh and yeah, around the Pennsylvania kind of region. I forget where all we played together.
You did
At this point, since
the Buffalo
What's
show where you guys wrecked the shit out of your trailer in Buffalo.
Ooh.
That one.
Was that a blizzard?
Yeah, the blizzard.
Yeah. Okay, I remember that. Jeez, yeah. No, we spun out like a few times on that one. So that was, I don't know what year that was. It might have been like 2006 or 7. It's been a minute.
We're old.
We are old. I mean, it happened really quickly. I mean, I still feel like I'm in my early 20s, just a little bit wiser.
Yeah.
But as far as my desires to do things, and you know, I'm certainly not jaded from music at this point. I still like to get out there and play for people. So yeah, what can I say? It keeps you young.
It does. It does. I mean, I guess. It either keeps you younger or it ages you exponentially. But you're
Yeah.
still feeling good regardless.
That's true. I mean, like, you know what, it can, you know, it can definitely age you as well too. I mean, I've, you know, some of my friends and colleagues, or not just age you, but probably, you know, cause a lot of health issues. You know, I mean, you're every night can be a party, you know, when you're on the road, if you choose to, you know, there's plenty of booze. I'm sure there's lots of drugs. I never really got into the drugs, but I mean, there's definitely drugs circulating around. I mean, it's rock and roll at the end of the day. So it's fun. It's fun to do all that stuff. I mean, I would be lying if I said it wasn't fun to party and go crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to sustain that. And some people, you know, I've had friends who died and whatnot, and definitely, you know, some people who just keep going hard, it like ages you really quick. So yeah, I mean, if you want to have a long-standing career, you've got to either figure out a way to recreationally have some sort of substance you're into that isn't going to kill you. Not that I'm advocating it. I feel as if like, if there's some young people out there, don't do drugs, kids. All right. So yeah, now that we've gotten that out of the way, I'm just being realistic. It's like, if there's but I mean, most people have a hard time kind of regulating that. And it's definitely, you know, if you have a really addictive personality, this world can be really challenging. Now, I don't know if the young people doing music, if they're into, you know, partying in the same way that people my age were into. I have no idea, you know, if people do that or not. Who knows? So what's that?
I'm asking the kids. Comment below. Talk about what kinds of drugs you like and how you party.
So yeah, I mean, like, you know, I really am out of touch when it comes to, I guess, some of the younger generations. I mean, I do know some of the music because you play festivals and whatnot, and there's, you know, there's bands of different decades involved, and so you know, those are kind of fun. So you can kind of see what's coming up, and you can also see like some of the veterans out there, which is cool. And I'm somewhere smack in the middle, it seems, as far as age range of people who tour. You know, there's definitely people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s even, you know, still out there doing it. So, and I'm sure possibly older. I don't know. I mean, I saw, you know, I like jazz music, and I remember seeing Elvin Jones, famous jazz drummer, play, and he was in his 80s. So that was awesome, out there touring. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm a tangent master. So if you want to reel me back in, that's cool.
Oh my gosh, no, you're wonderful. I was just gonna try to push buttons by talking about how Paul McCartney is still playing. Because
Yeah, he's I don't know if he's 80, but he's pretty close if he isn't, you know.
he's doing it and he's so great, isn't he?
Killing it.
He's killing it. He hates
Yeah.
he hates him.
Well, I mean, we could also talk about Mick Jagger. I mean, the guy's in incredible shape and he's still doing like jump kicks on stage and whatnot. So there's someone who is, I guess, probably in his 70s as well, or maybe late 70s, but still out there rocking hard. And I intend to do the same thing, I mean, hopefully the bands that would want me to drum with them will still want me at that point. But I mean, like, as long as there's people that want me to drum, I will continue to do it.
I love it. And like, I think that people, like, growing up, I was like, oh man, when I get to be 30, like, that is way too old. When I get to be, whatever milestone, way too old. And then you get there and you're like, oh no, we were just like a weird kid and we had no concept of life and how much, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can do it. So, I mean, obviously, I haven't reached 30 yet, obviously.
Me neither. Hey.
Hey.
We should sit more down.
I'm having my 28th birthday again.
That's what it's so fun. I've had it so many times, and every year it just gets more funner.
Like 16 years since you're
Nice.
Anyways. But it is. It's just like one of those things. It's like you think it's like, oh, this is like for the young people, and I'm young and I'm hip, but it's really like I didn't catch my stride until way after 30.
Yeah, I think it was like last week.
Oh.
Anyways, like I was doing stuff and I was in it and I was excited to be a part of it, but like I didn't really like get into it until I was, way big grown up. And I think it's important for people to know, like, there's not an age limit.
What was that last thing?
There's not an age limit. If you want it, do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we get one shot at life, and I mean, I don't know if this is a dated expression or not, but YOLO, right? I mean, you only live once, so yeah. So go ahead and if you have the ability to chase a dream, then I think you should do it. I mean, there's a lot of people that go the safe route, and I understand. I've dabbled with trying to go the safe route a few times, and and sometimes you just simply need to. I mean, like, for instance, it's like you have to, and everyone's got to work or put a roof over their head. So sometimes you have to focus on other things that aren't music in order to make that happen, and the music kind of takes sort of the back seat a little bit. But yeah, if you have a goal, and even if seems like a lofty one or you're against the odds, just I definitely think you should still go for it.
Absolutely.
I'm being safe, raw dog it.
Raw dog.
Oh man.
It's true though, because like, a lot of us growing up are in this position where you're told like you can't do it. You're not, like, you don't have talent, you're not gonna do it. And it's like, you can do it. Do you want to do it? Just do it. Like, it is a lot of work. I mean, even when it's not like I have my regular job, even though I have my regular job and I'm juggling a lot of things, it's still a lot of work. And I know that's the way for a lot of musicians. And yeah, you got to manage your priorities. You have to have a roof over your head, but don't give up. Ever.
Yeah, and also I guess it's good to know if anyone is listening that is an aspiring musician or who's grinding it out, that there's plenty of musicians that they probably listen to that also have to work some sort of other job on top of things, and they might even be famous on some level. So everybody's story is different, you know, so that's something to take in mind, I think. You know, and then there's people that come from wealth that decide to do music and they do a pretty good job and they don't really have to worry about the finance thing so much. So there's that too. And I mean, there's every story you could imagine, but at the end of the day, if it's a worthy pursuit, music is very gratifying. And I think if you're out touring and if you're able to record albums, you're putting smiles on people's faces. So I mean, it's good in that sense too.
That's kind
So
of
yeah,
the season.
just go do it if that's what you want to do.
Do it.
And don't worry about like how good or how bad you are. You know, on some level, it's the one thing I tell, you know, if occasionally if I have something like imposter syndrome and if I think as if maybe I'm not, you know, maybe I shouldn't be here or getting to do these tours, there's way better drummers or this or that, you know, I always think like some of the groups that I really enjoy play the most simple drum beats. There's nothing too complicated, and I know that I'm completely capable of doing that. And those groups have a lot of I guess worth to a wide range of people out there, you know. So I would never get down on yourself as far as thinking that maybe you're not good enough or you don't deserve to be there, because, you know, if you could do a few basic things, you can take that. And I mean, music's all about like moving notes around and rhythms and everything like that. I mean, you can recognize similar rhythms in pretty much any song you like. You know, so once you kind of figure that out, you realize that you could do a lot of different gigs. You have the abilities to write a decent song if you know, songwriting's your thing. So yeah, don't have imposter syndrome. Just get out there and keep doing it. Sure, there's somebody there's a 12-year-old on YouTube that can shred and is better than I will ever be my whole life, and that's fine. I can still tour the world and I can still perform for people, and it's great.
One of my favorite Ben Folds songs, "There's Always Someone Cooler Than You."
Yeah.
I mean, Ben Folds right now, but I am. But that's not like it. It's a deep cut, but that's like my thing. It's just like, I know, it's just like, okay, because I have imposter syndrome so hard with everything, and it's like, you know, there's always someone cooler than you, but it's fine. Like, you're still doing it. You're living
in your own skin, and it's your own life though. So I mean, like, yeah, I think that you still need to go for it. I mean, even if like you're assessing what else is out there and comparing yourself and all that kind of stuff, it's just like, this is your life. So like, yeah, you've got to kind of create it your own way. And I think it's still, yeah, exactly, worth doing. And just about anybody who's out there that has an interest in doing music has the possibility of having great success with it. So yeah, just don't give up, have a good time, and know that it's going to be a lot of hard work, and know that there's going to be a lot of struggle. So,
well, here's my question, and on everyone's mind, how do you take your steak?
What's that? How do I take my steak?
Yeah.
I haven't had steak since I was maybe like 14. So I don't know. Mushroom steak? Maybe, I don't know. If that's the case, probably like a portobello mushroom. That would be, you know, yeah, I would grill it, and I don't know. I mean, I guess I wouldn't keep it on too long, so I'd probably be somewhere medium, I guess.
I think it's so funny. I used to be a vegetarian. I was a vegan a little bit. I want to get back into it. I know you wrote this book. It was forever ago.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because no, that's not the book. But I'll get like, you know, sometimes you go to a restaurant, you're like, oh, a portobello mushroom burger, and it's like, it is just a raw ass mushroom. And I'm like, this is, ew, yuck. You know, like, people don't know what they're doing with it. But I like, you know, the book that you wrote, because it goes over, like, you know, how to do it and how to do it on a budget. Because we don't, you know, we're not all billionaires. We gotta, like, figure out how to eat.
I remember we were touring, I think, with Dismantled, and you were staying in my apartment, and we were like, let's go to the grocery store. We got $5. We're getting dinner. I'm like, we're not getting fucking dinner for $5. And you got dinner for $5 and cooked it, and it was great.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely ways of doing it, and yeah, I mean, when you're younger and if you're trying to make music your career, you've got to learn how to eat healthy on a budget. I mean, that is just, you know, crucial. So yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that out. I took an interest in health a while back, you know, yeah, when it comes to the foods that I choose, I mean, there's definitely a lot of healthy options that are really inexpensive. And I go over that in the book a little bit too, because yeah, I mean, I'm still, you know, even though I'm doing some really cool gigs and everything, I'm not exactly like loaded or anything like that. So I still have to like budget shop and whatnot, you know, when I go out. And to be honest, even if I had millions of dollars or something like that, I would probably eat in a similar way anyway. The only thing I would do is I would get more, I'd probably buy a lot more like fruit of different varieties, because sometimes fruit can be a little expensive. That would be the only difference, you know. Sometimes I notice I'm like, oh, I don't want to get that because it costs so much. Like this bunch of grapes is $10 or something.
I'm into fruit right now, and I want to talk about fruit because I feel the same way. I look at it in the grocery store and I'm like, But then I've been like looking on the internet, and they have these videos of people like with the fruit, like cutting the fruit, and I feel like this is like the lustful, like, oh yes, I want to see these exotic fruits.
Oh, that's so juicy.
So juicy. And it is. And I'm like, God damn it. Now what am I going to do? Am I going to fucking, you know, find the country this is coming from and pay them $40 for this fruit? Maybe, because I have to know. Fruit is exciting. But yeah, I feel the same way. Like, you go to the grocery store and you're like, oh, I want you, but I'm going to get you, Apple. Fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to priorities too when it comes to, you know, food shopping on a budget, or, you know, and some people, I don't know, you can just rethink it. Like, say you have a certain amount of money to spend in a week. Like, some people will go out to eat, and that there right alone is going to cost a lot of money. I mean, especially I live in Los Angeles. It's an expensive city. If you go out to dinner, even on a budget, you're probably spending about $30. Now that's from one person, and that's like, you're not ordering drinks, you're just getting the entree, and that's covering maybe the tip, and that's going to be like around $30, you know. So if you start getting the other stuff, or if you're taking someone out on a date, I mean, it gets to be really expensive. So that being said, if you go grocery shopping instead, then you can kind of justify getting that $10 thing of grapes and some other, like, you know, if you have that budget to go out to eat, I would just, instead of going out to eat, I would probably just take the money and buy nicer food, to be honest, at the grocery store. But there's like really healthy food you can get that's like, even if that's out of reach, there's so many fruits and vegetables and grains and beans and whatnot that are really cheap. And you know, if you have an instant pot or something like that, it's really easy to make these one pot dishes that can probably feed a whole family for like under $5, you know.
That's awesome.
So,
well, yeah. I will tell one story. I have a 5-year-old. Her name is Heidi, and we went to the grocery store, and I was like, you know what? We're feeling fruity. Pick any fruit you want. Pick anything you want in this store. You can have it. I'm gonna buy it. So she picks this like package of plums, and I, of course, we get it home, and I cut them up and I give them to her, and she's like, "What are these?" I'm like, "This is the thing you chose," and she's like, "Thought those were grapes." I'm like, "You thought these were giant grapes?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, they're not." Plums are much larger than grapes. I don't know why you would think grapes would be this big. I am failing as a parent to teach you.
There are some really big grapes they have.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, maybe, I don't know, but it
Not
was
as big as a plum, but I think pretty big.
it was like very upsetting for her. She's just like, and I'm like, oh, we're like,
Oh, bummer. Well, hopefully the plum was really delicious. I mean, depending on if it's in season and when it was picked, or sometimes you have to just sort of let it ripen up a little bit, in your home at room temperature. Because I mean, it is such a bummer if you like bite into a peach or a plum or something, and it's doesn't have any sweetness to it. So hopefully her first experience was good. Hopefully with it.
no, she took a bite out of it, and I had to eat the rest of them because she's.
Oh, bummer. If it was really sweet, maybe it wasn't sweet enough.
It might not have been. I was just like, girl, this.
Or she was sold on the grapes versus the plum.
That's the problem. Is she was sold on the grapes. She was like, I'm getting grapes, and then she got plums, and she's like, nope. Which I mean, I understand. That's a bad gig. Anyway,
Right
so
I want grapes.
I want grapes.
I would love some grapes right now.
Right now, I want grapes.
Big ass grapes.
Not plums, though.
No, not plums.
Or I seen a video on YouTube once, and it was like $1,000 grapes.
What?
Yeah, and they were pretty big. They were almost the size of like a plum.
I would never.
But yeah, it was like $1,000. Grown on like some fancy place.
Some fancy
It's
place.
grown on some fancy place.
I know, $1,000.
Yeah.
If you want to travel down to some fancy place, you can get yourself some $1,000 grapes. Just go on down.
They come like a gold box or something. Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah, I mean.
Big guy.
Or the Salt Bay or whatever.
I don't know.
That's wild.
There's no reason to spend $1,000 on any foods.
Yeah, when it comes to food, I would never be interested in anything like that. I mean, I know that you can get like really expensive mushrooms, for instance, or truffles or something like that. But I mean, like, I'm a bit more practical. There's wonderful food that you can make or just or buy that's just still inexpensive. I like a banana. I like a pretty good banana. That's it. Or pineapple or something like that. Just simple things. Yeah. You don't have to go find it in some exotic location or it's not going to cost tons of money.
Probably cheaper to buy your own pig to find the truffles than to buy truffles.
Oh, 1,000,000%. But like, you do not want to, off record, don't raise your own pig. Holy shit. Unless you have a farm and it's like a farm situation. They are so anyways, what's your favorite song?
My favorite song?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna edit it so it's like one of our songs, so you can say anything you want.
You'll be like,
Yeah.
You're like, I hate you guys. And I'm like,
To be honest, I don't think I can answer that question because I really don't know. I really don't know what my favorite song
say
is.
a song you like. Any song you like.
There's a song I've been listening to a lot of. This is bad for the there's a band that I'm enjoying one of their particular songs. It has a very nice chorus, but I can't think of the name of it, but I can tell you the name of the band. It's called Nation of Language. They're really good. They kind of do I don't know. It's kind of, I mean, I guess they're one of these modern new wave kind of bands that are happening or post-punk or something, like there's that whole revival that's been going on right now, and they kind of, I guess, kind of fit within that world a bit. And but I really like
I love this.
the band's called Nation of Language. So they're really cool. I dig them. So yeah, that's one that I've had on repeat a few times where I'm like, ooh, I really enjoy this song. But I'm all over the place with music, and to be honest, I listen to a lot of stuff, a lot of styles, and a lot of bands that sound nothing like anything that it is that people know of me to play. So, you know, I'm not going around listening to tons of industrial anymore like maybe I would when I was a kid, just because I play in a lot of industrial bands. So I guess my taste gravitate towards you know, the other stuff, you know, like I like a lot of 90s shoegaze music. Pardon me?
I was gonna say, like, the Taylor Swifts, the like the more country. Who's a country artist?
Vince Gill.
Vince Gill. Who's the one that was just here? Who's that guy?
Kenny Chesney.
Yeah, you're a big Kenny Chesney guy.
I can't say that I've heard a song, so I don't know. I do enjoy some country. I mean, I like some of the, I guess classic artists like, you know, Waylon Jennings and the Highwaymen and you know, stuff like that.
I love Dolly.
Oh, everybody loves
Dolly. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like Dolly? I wouldn't trust you if you didn't like Dolly, at least on some level, you know. So even if we're just talking like enjoying the song Jolene or something like that, I mean, it's
like, can you imagine, like, who the fuck is Jolene? Like, I want to see Jolene because nobody is gonna touch like Dolly. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, Jolene, I mean, she's given Dolly a run for her money, apparently, according to the lyrics, you know. So,
we're just
hey.
But I'm not allowed to say we're killing anyone on this podcast, except for I just did. Anyways, Jolene, go fuck yourself. She's probably dead by now, anyways. And if you're not, anyways, fuck, I don't need the police showing up at my door at this point. Thank you, John. It was so nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too. Yes, thank you.
I hope to see you IRL.
Yeah, I'm gonna find out when our Philly show is. I'm maybe go visit my sister and catch the show, and hopefully you can.
Yeah.
And I'll try to find some more promoters for you.
Yeah. I just found out too there was a proximity clause. So like when I talked to the band leader from Psyclon Nine and their booking agent, it's you know, because we're doing that Philadelphia show, like we're not allowed to play within a certain like mileage of Philly during that time period. So I think that includes Pittsburgh because of a contract. So I guess that makes sense why we wouldn't be playing. I mean, we're already on the East Coast. Why wouldn't we hit up New York City? But that explains that too. So
anyway, so don't see Psyclon 9 in Pittsburgh. Because you won't.
Yeah, we won't be there. Yeah, unfortunately, not on this run. We're not going to be in Pittsburgh. I mean, we're going to be, you know, if you live, the closest will be is Philly, or we're playing in Kent, Ohio, which I know is like a college town kind of near Cleveland.
Is closer than Philly.
Okay, well then yeah. So we're going to be there as well. I can't name all this. I mean, it's on my Instagram. So
fine. We're gonna put all the links on here, so check them all out. Thank you so much, Jon Siren from many a band. Put all the links here. If you don't know them, you're gonna know them now, and
It's gonna be a lot of links.
It's gonna be like I'm gonna get carpal tunnel from me. Like,
I have a website too that just goes to all my links. I mean, it's a pretty simple one. It's just jonsiren.com.
John,
there's no .com. So JONSIREN.com.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I believe you. We'll see. We're gonna fact check that, but
it's probably some bowling alley board.
Stop. Bowling alley bowling alley porn is a thing, and it popped up on my Pornhub, and I was like, oh, suggested for me, interesting, and it was. At any rate,
Well, now that you said this on my phone and everything, doesn't my phone listen to our conversation and all of a sudden I'm going to get ads? I'm going to have ads for it now.
Fun. The thing that's fun about bowling alley porn is that like there's the porn going on, but then there's also the guys like
They're bowling in the background. You kind of like, what do you get?
what'd you get in the girl? It's a one girl gangbang situation. I'm on top.
Oh my God.
Jon Siren, everybody, thank you so much for being on. It was so nice meeting you. I can't wait to meet you in person. And
All right, excellent.
be blessed. Thank you.